Welcome to Hashtag Sports.
Hi, Paul.
Mario, boy, did we have a lot going on, huh?
You know what? If they're not going to take this thing seriously, neither am I.
I love, I love that theory. I love that theory.
Ladies and
By
gentlemen.
serious,
Yeah, let's go ahead.
by seriously, you mean scoring a touchdown means you're taking somebody seriously, right?
I would, Paul. No. Chew
What
my
a
mouth
game.
closed. Never chew my mouth closed. Ladies and gentlemen of Hashtag Nation and welcome to Hashtag Sports, where we are trending now, trending later. We are here to break down the Buffalo Bills escaping New York with an 18-10 victory over the winless New York Jets. It was a game where Tyler Bass he got some work in. It was, I guess that was kind of nice, but runs the Bills record to 5-2, 3-0 in the division. Also, I just wanted to mention at the onset, we wanted to thank all the hashtag heroes, obviously the channel members, we call them the hashtag heroes. We were able to raise $77 for the month of September, and I discussed it with Paul, and we decided to do this. Prior to tonight, 50% of all the proceeds of all the memberships was going to be going to the Pun Foundation, which is the charity that we're donating to. Now, from now until the end of the year, we're going to donate 100% of all the channel memberships to the Pun Foundation that you guys join up for. So we were very excited to announce that. So the hashtag heroes, you guys more of your donations will be going to them. So I'm really happy to announce that. And one of the bright spots for today. Where's Kurt Russell? What are you talking about?
Escape from New York, Escape from L. You were old enough to know those movies.
Escape from LA? Yes, I did.
Yeah, there you go.
Paul, initial reaction, the chat is booming. Matthias, Maz, Big Spence, 585, B Lightning, Greenwood, Risman, Ultimate Guitar Wizard, Daniel Garies. Everybody's here. Initial reaction to the game. And go.
Can we just not do that again? We attempted 7 field goals.
Can we just not?
For the love of God.
Wasn't it 8? He missed 2.
8. We missed 2. Yeah, 8.
What's up, Apex?
8.
How you doing?
One of them, the first field goal wouldn't have been good if the uprights were on a field running parallel the existing field they were playing on.
I can't.
Awful.
I just texted you right hash right when that happened.
That's it. I see it from the right hash. I'm like, well, this should be good. And who knew? Who knew Tyler Bass could throw a slider? Didn't know you could kick a slider. Thing was like a frisbee.
Thank you, Garies. Appreciate it. 8, Paul. 8. Everyone's correcting you. I love when they just jump in. It's pretty awesome. Yeah, Daniel Garies. I said that my bold prediction was that Beasley was going to be the leading receiver in this game. I didn't want. You guys realize something. I don't want my bold predictions to come true.
Well, and you're talking about your bold prediction on the tailgate over on Cold Front Report, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, Benjamin Murphy, no punts. Just saying. That's a great point.
There's no punts when you throw picks too. Like, but still.
Yeah, but Cody Borquez. Can we just talk? Cody Borquez booming the football. Are we having a little bit of a holder controversy here?
Did Paul freeze on me? He started to get into a point about Corey Borquez, and I have no idea where that was going. So I have no clue. He just froze on me. That's hysterical. So I'll turn to the chat while he's frozen there in solid. I actually got here at the start, be like, yes, you did. So the Buffalo Bills are now 5-2. The New England Patriots are getting stomped right now, which is actually good for everybody. So Buffalo Bills are 5-2, 3-0 in the division. So no INTs today, Daniel. So it's going to be something to behold. Where's this? We're in kind of a rut. Oh boy, there we go. Let me get him back in here. Always with the lives. Always with the live feeds. Hold on a second, guys. Let me see if I can get this for you. Matthias, thank you for upgrading to the All-Pro selection. I'm going to go strictly chat, so this is going to be strictly a podcast right now while you guys got this going on right now. His ghetto internet. Yeah, that could happen, Paul Berg. I don't know why that's going on. Why not? Just got here already, smashed it like no excuse. Hey, thank you, John Vernon. Appreciate you. Bill Z only allowed 4 yards to the Jets in the second half. That is amazing. Paul frozen on mute, though. Yeah, he had to go ahead and get some more ranch. That's basically what was going on. They should have Allen hold. Scared the crap out of teams in short yards. Yes, it would. Max Headroom. How about Dane Jackson today, boys? Let's talk about all the topics that Paul would want to talk about in the interim while he's not here, because that would be hysterical. Yeah, Anthony, this is sometimes how it goes on #sports and #nation. That is. It told me Zoom failed and shut down. He says he's coming back. So while we wait, the Buffalo Bills defense did happen to show up in the second half. It was interesting to see the adjustments that they were doing. And those of you that are here, the 58 viewers, please do not leave. We are having technical difficulties. I am monitoring the chat right now. Paul is on his way back, so we're going to see how this goes. Allen, he definitely was better in the second half. He definitely seemed to settle down. I knew that the New York Jets and Greg Williams was going to give them – they're going to let them check some things down from time to time. Wow, Paul Berg. He will. He'll definitely do that. That is – wow. Thank you so much, sir. I cannot believe that. That's amazing. While we try to get back here – Paul, are you ready and willing to go, or what? What's going on here?
Okay, so sorry, my computer, or rather Zoom itself, much like the Bills' offense, only worked for about 2 minutes in the first quarter. So in the first quarter of this episode so far, not looking so great.
Paul Berg donated $50 for you to fix your internet.
Oh my God, he did.
He didn't even have a question. He just wants you to fix your internet. That is amazing, Paul. Fire the IT department, absolutely.
And thanks to Matthias for upgrading to the Pro Bowl.
Absolutely.
Or the All Pro.
He's the All Pro team now.
Perfect. Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah, as we said at the onset, #nation, the 64 viewers that are in here, if you're a member of the #heroes, which is the channel membership, we're donating 100% of all of the channel memberships to the Punt Foundation, which is Brian Moorman's foundation. So we raised a bunch of money, so we're waiting for a bunch of things to kind of realign so we can go and give them a big, huge check. But you guys have been awesome with that. The #heroes, we thank you for that. Paul, your boy was dropped. Your boy's name was dropped a little bit ago. Dane, the man Jackson.
Yes. I know. Well, listen, if you play man coverage, give me all of Dane Jackson. You want to play man coverage in the back? Give me all of Dane Jackson. Had a really nice pass breakup. Looked a little naked on the 3rd and 20 with Barrios, right? So that's going to happen. But, yeah, give me all of Dane Jackson. If you're going to play zone, give me everything Dane Jackson's selling. That's what I want.
Believers talk. I watched way too many Fast and the Furious as a kid. Doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile. Winning is winning. I was not enamored with how the Buffalo Bills started the game. Obviously, going down early to the Jets. But if you think about it, we saw something today that we didn't normally see. And I know, points aside, we saw adjustments by the defense going into the second half.
Yeah.
And only allowing 4 yards. 4 in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what. We said this a bunch of times. Going up against other teams that aren't 0-6, only getting field goals in the second half ain't going to cut it.
Right. Yeah.
So,
right.
What is your biggest concern with this offense moving forward, Paul?
I mean, without John Brown, they look pretty naked, don't they? Right? This is the second game without John Brown where you look at the offense and you like we raved about Diggs early, and Diggs was getting a ton of targets, don't get me wrong.
He was.
But Diggs is more effective when you have John Brown. Like it's to me, it's clear as day.
It's amazing.
And there were a couple things that I liked about Josh today that were scary for me in previous weeks. We didn't see Josh trying to make time going backwards, which was something we've complained about with him recently, was a lot of times he was trying to make time going backwards. Opposite side of that, he made some really ill-advised throws today.
He did.
really ill-advised when there were other wide open targets. So I'd still like to see him work through his progressions a little bit. The fact that we didn't run the ball till basically the second half was a little concerning. Like there were some game plan issues that I just didn't understand. So, from an offensive side, whatever we got to do to get John Brown healthy, not a hurt John Brown playing. We saw what a hurt John Brown playing looks like. I'm not interested in that, right? Give me a healthy John Brown. That's another game or two to get him right. Okay, that's fine. You take that on the chin, you learn to adjust, and you go forward. But John Brown and Stephon Diggs together are really dangerous. John Brown with Gabe Davis it's not the same mixture. It's just not. And I want to see a healthy John Brown. And the trade deadline is still looming. There's rookie receivers, guys who are coming off of rookie deals that could be very available that, if John Brown's really got a problem, maybe you have to look at adding a wide receiver. Or maybe you wait till Isaiah Hodgins comes back. But again, I don't think you're getting anything from Isaiah Hodgins in any form or fashion that you can depend on.
He's not
I'm
the
really
same type
about,
of player to me that John
exactly,
Brown is.
No,
You know what I mean?
right. Yeah, exactly. But even though he's been in the offense, right? He's been on IR, so he hasn't been practicing. So John Brown's foot injury, we have to pay attention to. I got to know how that works out. But I got to get him right.
Yeah, he does have to get right. The fact that the Buffalo Bills did not have a running back carry the ball until 10 minutes in the second quarter. And we take a look at our advanced statistics, which is me writing on a notepad. But, Moss and Singletary combined for 15 carries for 76 yards, whereas Josh Allen had 11 carries for 61 yards. A lot of those weren't design runs. But, you call up a third and short, and you run a read option with Allen up the middle. Like, we talk about the evolution. It's only because you can't see mine. No, Anthony, I can't. He says my beard got grayer throughout the game, and I don't deny that, Anthony. I really don't. So you start to see where's the progression, where's the evolution of Daboll. You know what I mean? Were there guys? When I finally watch the tape, I may see guys that he missed that were wide open, and that may be the case, and I understand that. However, initial thoughts were he dropped back, he would look to one read, two read, and then there was nobody there, and that is. Greg Williams, in and of himself, is a maniac, and he's hard to game plan for because he's all over the place. And with new toys that he has all over the place because guys just keep leaving the Jets, it's tough. It's tough to try to gauge what's going on. And then who was the Gase wasn't calling plays today, so that's why the Jets offense. It took a while for the Buffalo Bills to adjust to the Jets offense, but then when everything was all said and done, the Buffalo Bills were able to adjust. They have more talent than the New York Jets. Their defensive side of the ball. We saw a Matt Milano sighting as well.
Yep, it was very package based, right? He was only out there in packages, primarily third downs. I noticed early, and he seemed to play a little bit more towards the end of the game. But yeah, very package based.
Very package based. Really, you're gonna walk by that one. You're gonna say that, just walk right by it.
Sure am.
Quentin's.
Listen, I'm not the guy sitting with a fridge full of White Claws next to me. Okay.
If those were my White Claws, I can understand your argument. But Quentin Spain was missed today because Quentin Williams was eating lunches on the front line.
Yeah.
He didn't do a lot, but he was disruptive enough that got Allen off of his spot, got Allen, the running game was, it sprung here and there, but with, you're going to hear this all the time, and I'm going to say it again, but when you talk about Moss and Singletary, they're volume runners. They need to get a feel for the game, and you got to give them the ball. You got to give them the ball. Who's your most explosive weapon on offense? Stephon Diggs or Josh Allen?
Yep.
Who would you say?
Allen is the most Allen's most explosive.
Then you got Singletary 3. Like let's have this discussion because if whoever's 3's got to touch the ball, is it Beasley in the slot because he can get you first downs? Of his 11 catches today, I'd venture to say that 7 of them were first downs.
Yeah, yep. That right now, yeah. And can we stop Devin Singletary, the receiving back Devin Singletary scares the hell out of me, right? Well, is that just me?
Depends where the ball is, though.
Yeah. I just don't feel like he makes outstanding adjustments on some of those passes. Now, mind you, some of those passes, he's only standing 8 yards away, and they're coming in at 66 miles an hour. So, personally, you get paid a lot of money to be a bulletproof vest there, right? I get it. But Devin Singletary, the receiving back, scares the hell out of me. Right? That's what Moss is here to do, in my opinion. I think Moss is a better receiving back.
You think he is? Oh, yeah. He does not shy away from contact either. I love when he would get the ball up in open space, and he does not care. Like you say many times, all he has to do is put a helmet on and take souls.
That's it. Well, and I think that's probably one of the issues. When you look at your starting line, you're starting Brian Winters at left guard and Ike Bottinger at right guard. Are you really looking at running the football on the inside today? No, you're not. You're giving away the O to 4 gaps are gone. Right? They're gone. You can't.
But why though?
You can't.
If you're a guard in the NFL, you have to be able to run block at some point. You have to.
Yeah. No, I agree.
How is it something that they're not good at doing? Oh, PJ's here. Everybody go home.
Well, the reason the reason it's something they're not good at doing is you're talking about a guard who couldn't make the Jets, starting at left guard. And then you have practice squad Ike Bottinger, who's been here for, is this his 3rd season now?
Was he at left or right? I thought Winters was at right.
He was at right. No, he was at right today. I saw Bottinger at right.
That's how bad it was. Like, you couldn't even tell. These guys don't even know each other's names. That's how crazy it is.
But sooner or later, we should have Feliciano coming back. I see Anthony mention it. When Feliciano comes back, what does the starting 5 look like? I mean, I think that left guard spot is kind of an audition block right now, but I would have to imagine Cody Ford when he's ready, I guess. I don't think Bottinger or Winters outplayed what Ford couldn't have done for you today. So I still think Ford is the guy that they're going to mark up as
I don't know. Morse was struggling with Williams too. Morse struggled. He got thrown out of the way sometimes. And breaking tables, Bills talk comes in. Thank you. Dable continues to call runs up the middle. We run much better on the outside. Dable continues to struggle with halftime adjustments as well. They were able to move the ball, I believe, in the second half a little bit better. I think they moved the ball in the second half a little bit better. They were able to control the ball. They got more possessions to control the ball, which was good for them. But it just happened to stall out every once in a while. I just thought that, and you and I have gone over. This is 3 years now, Paul. We've gone over 3 years of this. He tries to get too cute with some of his calls.
Absolutely.
I don't know why. Like it. Yeah. Don't do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, Tony B. Spain is a free agent.
He's still available. Quentin Spain, still available. Marla Hooch, what a hitter. Quentin Spain, still available. I'm done. I totally lost my train of thought. Completely lost my train of thought now. I was going to tell you something. It was good. The end around to McKenzie.
Yes.
They'd run the same look. They'd run the same formation 4 times in that drive, that being the 4th, right? And McKenzie gets tackled for what, an 8-yard loss?
11.
Right? It was 11-yard loss? Okay. But they'd run that same look 3 times already in that drive, just in that drive. Like, that's the stuff you got to, like, you can't just keep going back to the well. I know that there's times where you're like, oh, well, you're running the ball great today. Just keep running the football. Right. You can't run the same formation with the same pre-snap motion over and over and over again. Because Moss had a year in the middle. They 100% knew it was just about time that McKenzie was going to get it, because Moss had a mile in front of him had the ball been handed off to him instead of pitched out to McKenzie. Like, he had a mile in front of him. I agree. There's a tendency to get a little too cute. And today was no exception at times. And, I can't say that drops were a problem. I still don't know how Josh Allen threw for 300 yards. How did that happen?
Because he completed 30 passes.
Yeah. Well, and 11 Beasley finished with 11?
Absolutely, yeah.
11 of them to Cole Beasley. Mm-hmm. If this is what we were waiting for all these years, to have a 300-yard passer, I don't know if I like that. We threw for the ESPN has him at 296. So that's what ESPN has him as, 296.
Do they take sacks into account? Because I had 307.
Oh, yeah. You know what? 307. You're right. Yep. Yeah, he's at 307.
To me, it's crazy because, let's put it this way. You don't want BFLO. We will. We'll get there. Don't worry. Paul will get there again. Don't worry. We'll talk about the defense very soon. You want to talk about this team and the offense and the progression. The thing that gets me about it, you know what's going to happen when McKenzie's on the field. It's either a jet motion, it's either going to be a bubble screen to him, or he runs up the field sometimes, but it's not really like you're doing anything to him. Throw him a whip route. Throw him a quick slant or something. Do something different with him that other teams have to account for when they get on the field. Because when they get on the field and you got Isaiah McKenzie out there, you know what's about to happen. You have 3 possible plays they could run. And he's not in there because he's a stellar run blocker. So you know they're not going to run the ball when he's in there. So let's just... breaking tables, Bills talk, because it says defense adjusted going through the second half and started blitzing more and went away from the soft zone. That's what turned the game around. I believe they started to apply a little bit more pressure because they started to figure out what the Jets were doing. And it was tough because in the first half, you had a new play caller. And that's what the Jets were trying to do. They were trying to get a new play caller. Yep. So all the tendencies that you had coming into the game were kind of thrown out the window, which is why, to a man, you still got to stop what's in front of you. So I don't know if they had different blocking schemes, different alignments, and whatnot. But that was a bunch of things that were going on in the first half. And the Buffalo Bills' defensive side happened to adjust to it very well, and they happened to shut them down after they gave up those 10 points. You give that to McDermott, you give that to Frazier, whoever you give it to. They made adjustments against a very poor team and ended up getting it done. Right. That's what you could say about it. Because if they didn't make adjustments, they would have scored 20-30 tonight. Because with the field goals going on, I don't know. Right.
Well, and, if you take a look at how this game ultimately went down, right, the Jets only had 5 first downs through the air.
Really?
That's it, yeah. They had 3 from penalties, 9 rushing, but 5 through the air. Now, that's sort of a big deal, right? Because that, if you just do the math on that, right, that means the Jets only had 17 first downs, yet they had time of possession in the first half by a mile, right?
Yep.
So the Jets finished with only 17 first downs. The Bills had 16 first downs through the air.
Wow.
The Jets only had 17 all game. It's crazy, right?
That's an amazing stat. It's almost like the flip version of what we saw last week.
Right.
The Jets knew that they couldn't come into this game and have the ball the same amount of time that the Bills would, or they would have got killed. The problem was the Bills couldn't finish any drives in the end zone.
No.
Since 6:48 of week 1, the Bills have not scored a touchdown on the Jets. You want to talk about... So, just so you're scored at home, they scored in 2 quarters. They scored touchdowns in 2 quarters against the Jets out of 8. Quick math. 25%. Yep. Do you know what the other teams that the Jets have played? The 5 other teams, the 49ers, Colts, Broncos, Cardinals, and Dolphins. They have scored a touchdown in 70% of the quarters. 14 quarters out of 20, they've scored a touchdown. The Buffalo Bills have done it 2 out of 8. Does that concern? I know we're all about matchups in the NFL, and that's just a statistic I decided to throw out because no one's going to have that statistic because it's too stupid. But what? Why can't you get in the end zone?
Well, Richard Forbes brought up a great point. He goes, the Bills were terrible on third down. That's right. They were 3 of 11 today.
What was the average to go, though? That's the thing I need. If it's 3rd and 8, it's tough.
I don't know. The game just ended. We don't get stats.
That's what I'm saying, though, Paul. I'm just telling you.
Oh, my God.
A win is a win. Stop complaining. Obviously, we're not. And I knew this was going to happen, Paul. I knew. I tweeted it before the game. I said, if the Bills win by more than 10, you can enjoy Bills Twitter tonight. If they win by less than 10, just check it tomorrow. If they lose to the Jets, delete the app. That's what I said.
Yeah. And that's very fair. But there's something to be said about not being able to score a single touchdown on the worst team in the NFL. There's something to be said there, right?
They're close.
There is. Yeah.
They're close.
The Bills had 11 penalties for 106 yards today. 11. They had 106 yards in penalties. They had 126 yards on the ground. So they effectively just, erased their entire run game through penalties today. But can we talk about that hit with Micah Hyde? I get that they called a defenseless receiver, but I mean, I thought I saw a murder. I thought I saw a murder. But I thought it was clean. I thought it was a clean hit. I agree. Real time, vicious. When you slow it down, it was a clean hit, right? Is that really what the rule is supposed to? Is that the intent of the rule? I guess as a fan, is that penalty called to the what the intent of the rule is, or was that a misinterpretation of the rule? Like, what do you think?
I don't know why I'm all focused. Probably better for the viewer.
You're good.
I was out of focus, which is probably in focus for a lot of people because after drinking that much for that game. I mean, no, I would say that just for the sheer violence of the hit, that'll get thrown all the time. And you can't challenge those anyway. You can't challenge them anymore. You're able to challenge those in the back. You can able to challenge them. I think just for the sheer violence of that hit, that's going to get called every time, no matter if it's clean or not. Because then they could always fall back on defenseless receiver. You know, like the way they fall back on if they call defensive pass interference, but then they huddle up and they say, well, it wasn't catchable. They say defensive holding. Like, all right, 5 yards, first down. I will give it to you. But come on, Mario, focus. I can't do it. I can't do it. It was a clean hit. I really believe it was a clean hit. It wasn't dirty. That's not the type of player that Micah Hyde is. A lot of people know that. He has a track record that speaks for itself. He's not a dirty guy. But he was... The guy that should be blamed for that is Darnold. I mean, if he's not sitting in the hospital room next to Perriman right now, he should be.
Right. That was crazy. What a wave hit that was, right? Just, and you know what? You look at that as a scenario where the announcer said, "Oh, he's got to throw that ball away." If he stepped forward, somebody might have rolled over and broke his leg. Like, he had so many people coming at him.
He did.
No, you take that sack. You don't throw that one. You're not throwing that one away. You're dead clean in the pocket. You're dead to rights. Just you got to take the sack. Like, you got to take the sack. Because if you step forward into that, you're going to die. Like, that's a business decision.
It was.
Right there.
It was. And I guess that Big Spence comes in, and a lot of guys are saying, yeah, he did. He hung him out to dry. He definitely hung him out to dry. That was a poor read by Darnold. I don't know. It wasn't good. But if we had to try to shift gears here, Paul, and talk about the positives of this game, if we got to learn, the silver lining. Buffalo Bills are 5-2. They are 3-0 in their division. New England's getting waxed right now. Miami's going to have a new quarterback.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yep.
I mean, we could talk briefly about the Patriots, which I never like doing, but we could do that. But I'm just talking about Paul and I had a little bit of a discussion about what's going on with Miami. And everyone's like, oh, Fitz should still play. Why are they not playing Fitz? He's playing well. He's doing this and that. You guys got to realize something. And you, as Buffalo Bills fans, know this all too well.
Yeah.
In 2010, when Gailey and Fitz were together, the first 6 games nearly mimic the first 6 games that Fitzpatrick is having right now. And for the rest of the season that year, Fitzpatrick threw like 55% completions. He had like 10 touchdowns, 7 picks, around 1,500 yards or whatever like that. So the Dolphins realize that it's not getting much better than what Fitzpatrick is doing right now. So why not play the rook? Why not get him some exposure? Does it scare you more? Because honestly, the Buffalo Bills may play Jared Stidham and Tua for the rest of the year. Mm-hmm. We don't have any book on either one of those guys. How does that make you feel?
Right. Well, I guess that's sort of the interesting thing when we talk about Miami versus the Bills, because that's the last game of the season, right? Mm-hmm. So at that point, that team will have calibrated to exactly what they want to do with Tua, right? So you're going to get the full Tua show. You're going to get the best that they have. And I don't know what that looks like right now, right? Now, switching to a left-handed quarterback is certainly nothing that I think that gets overlooked, right? It's kind of a big deal to switch to a left-handed quarterback, right? It is kind of a big deal.
Ask Anthony Munoz.
The greatest left tackle in the history of football.
I will chokeslam you through a house if you say that again.
Play left tackle for a left-handed quarterback is just play right tackle. That's what it is. That's what you're doing.
This is why you're my best friend, Paul.
Yep, that's right. That's true. But I don't know. I'm curious about the Tua thing because he's got a really fascinating skill set for today's NFL.
He does.
Right? But I think there's a lot of people out there who, if you said, "Hey, we're gonna cut Jake Fromm. We're going to trade a 6th-round pick to Miami for Fitz, and we're going to waive Barkley and put him on the practice squad. I think Bills fans would rejoice right now. They would rejoice. But Buffalo offers nothing more than Miami didn't offer, right? Miami offered Fitz a chance to start, played his heart out, great job. They did nothing to lose the job there at all. Did nothing to lose the job there, but I think Bills fans would rejoice to see a return of Ryan Fitzpatrick. Although no one would want to see him play, they'd all rejoice.
The backup quarterback's always the most popular guy in town.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
It's crazy. All right, so I know you've been waiting. Hashtag Nation has been waiting. 152 in here. Love you guys. Make sure you smash that like button. And just another reminder, if you want to be a member of the Hashtag Heroes, which is the channel membership, 100% of all proceeds for the rest of the season, rest of the year, basically, is going to go toward the Punt Foundation, which is Brian Moorman's charity. So we're really excited to be doing that. The other thing, I'm going to sit back. I'm going to enjoy my chips. I'm going to mute my mic because I want to hear all about. I want you to extol the virtues of what many, not few, many are saying the new CB2 in town, Dane freaking Jackson.
Oh my God.
So.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna wait. I can't wait to see this.
All right. So for those who are members who are, what level did we have the scouting videos out at?
All pro.
If you remember. All pro level? Okay. So if you're an all pro.
Pro Bowl. I'm sorry. Pro Bowl.
Pro Bowl? Okay. If you're a Pro Bowl member with hashtag, then you would have seen the scouting video that we put out on Dane Jackson. Went back, looked at some film. Actually looked at some film of him versus Gabe Davis in college, which was a lot of fun.
Great.
But Dane Jackson is your true man-to-man corner, right? Now, man-to-man corners are pretty common. They actually come out. Most colleges play man coverage, right? But Dane Jackson, we're talking about a captain, actually multi-captain, and hyper-aggressive, right? If he ever gets caught, it's because he was playing too aggressive. Mm-hmm. Today we saw him, make a couple really nice pass breakups. They were not able to attack Dane Jackson. Normally, if you have a practice squad cornerback that gets brought up and has to play your CB2 position, you're going to attack them, right? You're going to attack them all day long. They were not able to attack Dane Jackson because he didn't give them a reason to, right? I thought he played great. He did get caught up on that 3rd and 20 with Barrios running that crosser. That's going to happen, right? It happens.
It happens to vets sometimes.
Yeah, it happens, right? But Dane Jackson is, I think, if you ever want to talk about an opportunity and a player making a statement, I thought Dane Jackson made a statement today, right? You got a hurt Levi Wallace who's on IR. You got a hurt Josh Norman. You've been rotating out whoever you can find at that CB2 position. I think he outplayed Lafayette Pitts by a mile. So I think Dane Jackson made a real serious case for that CB2 spot, right? He's not a guy that profiles, although Dane Jackson could slide down into the slot. So even if Norman gets healthy, could you put Dane Jackson and swap out Teron Johnson? You certainly could. Dane Jackson's actually very good coming down in the run. Again, just because he's so aggressive.
Yep.
But I don't see Buffalo doing that, right? Even if Dane Jackson plays outstanding, I don't see him swapping out for Teron Johnson. Ultimately, those roles are very different. I just don't see them making that switch. But I think Dane Jackson made a very, very hard case to get the start next week and give your CB2, Josh Norman, who really is the CB2 on this team, give him, some more time to heal. I thought from what you could expect of a practice squad cornerback, he played NFL level football today. And I was excited to see it. I was super excited to see it.
I would. Now you're not going to like me for this, Paul.
Yeah.
I loved what I saw today. I agree with you. What you said, 110%. True playing the Jets. Just saying. Just putting it out there. Was playing the Jets. So you can't really, you got to take it a little bit with a grain of salt. On a quarterback that went 12 for 23. But number one, we talked about it, flirting with the idea of putting him down on the slot guy. when we filmed our episode during the summer, we talked about putting him down on the slot guy. See, he would have been like, yep. I love the attitude the kid brings. The fact that he is a captain is of that mold of a McDermott Bean guy where he's a leader. He is super aggressive. He's not afraid to come up and make tackles in space one-on-one. He showed that today. So, would you baptize the kid by fire by next week putting him in the slot and putting him on Edelman. Because
No.
you're not going to get a better. Because what do you think he's been doing in practice every week? He's probably guarding Beasley.
Yeah, probably. Right. Yeah.
I mean,
probably.
we that's the thing we need to take away from this sometimes. You know, the ones don't always play against the ones. We know that. The ones kind of plays against the twos and threes sometimes. So you're talking about Dane Jackson. All he's covered this year is Diggs, Brown, and Beasley. If you want to think about it in practice like that, he's a practice squad guy. That's what he's been
true.
doing. So he probably won't see for the rest of the season. And I'm just going off of what the Bills receivers have been able to do this year.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to go after any better route runners than he has in practice every day. Mm-hmm. So he's been pretty much conditioned to do that so far. So that's why I think the transition that he had today playing big boy football was kind of seamless because he's been going up against Diggs probably every day. He's probably going up against Beasley every day. John Brown's been in and out of the lineup, so you don't know. Maybe he was guarding Gabriel Davis again like he did in college.
Maybe like in college?
Yeah. So, Richard Forbes says, I don't know about that one, Mario. I understand that. I understand it. But I know what I have with Teron Johnson on Julian Edelman. I'd rather see Dane Jackson on Julian Edelman, honestly.
Well, it's Anthony brings up in the chat. He goes, put White on Julian Edelman. White looks hurt. Like when he's running down the field, he looks hurt. He does not look healthy, man. Just the way he's running, the body language that he has while he's running, he does not look healthy to me.
He looks
and it's
bored.
not just I wouldn't say bored. I would say hurt. I wouldn't say bored. I think bored insinuates that he's not in. Right. And I think Trey is a 1,000,000,000% in. But, if you have a back injury, dude, that impacts everything that you do. You can't twist, you can't turn, you can't accelerate, you can't slow down. It's the brake pedal to your body. Right. If you have a back problem, it is the brake pedal to your body. And he just looks hurt to me.
Paul, you could time my 40 with a calendar. I don't have a problem with slowing down. But I get what you're saying. Like, with a back problem, it does affect every single thing. But he's not being tested. Like, so there's very few times throughout the game that he's being tested. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk about running backs that are that are rhythm runners, that are volume runners, the flip side of the ball is that Trey White, he needs to see action to be into the game. Like I guess into the game was a bad comparison, or bad wording, but I just think that bored. I just think that he needs to be into it. He needs to be challenged and tested. And I think the 2 or 3 times he's ever tested a game just kind of bores him. But he could be hurt and he's covering it well. Like you were able to tell it. Why isn't anybody else telling it and going after him?
Well, I do want to say that the player that impressed me. First off, Dane Jackson to me impressed me the most out of this game. I saw a lot of Dean Marlowe, and I kind of liked how Dean played today, right? We talked about that nickel linebacker role with Milano only playing in certain situations. Saw a lot of AJ Klein, which wasn't great,
Nope.
right?
Nope.
Dean Marlowe played pretty well in that nickel linebacker role. He really did a good job.
He did.
They had him down. I thought he played really well.
You know what? For the same reason that we've said for many times, this is why we're never going to get Trey White on the show, is because we say he's great against big physical receivers and not necessarily the speed guys. I would trust Trey White more with a big physical receiver, like a Julio, than a guy that runs a 4.4, 4.3. Even though Julio did when he came out. That's probably a bad example. But my point is this. Big physical receivers, I would match Trey on all day. Mm-hmm. The speedsters, Tyreek Hills, I don't like that matchup for him.
Right.
Marlowe is the same way from the safety position.
Right.
He's the same guy. You want a guy that wants to just punch somebody in the mouth when they come off the line? That's Dean Marlowe. You want him to run with a guy down the seam? Nope. I don't like that.
Agreed. Nope.
And it seems like a lot of the guys on that Buffalo defense are kind of built that way. You look at Poyer. He's great at staying with a guy for 5 to 10 yards. You want to run down the field? Nope. Levi Wallace struggles with that. Norman struggles with that. Sear Neal, we don't see enough of. I would love to see more of Sear Neal. I would love to see more of him on this defense. We just don't see it. The fact that he got passed over for Dane Jackson, what does that tell you about it? Does that say something about Sear Neal? Because I think it's something, and I don't mean to. I don't mean this as a knock against Neal. I think it's up here with Neal. I think there's something going on up here where he's not processing what he's supposed to be doing, and that's why he's not playing. Because physically, the guy can match up with anybody.
Yeah.
But I think there's some kind of disconnect going on upstairs, and I don't know, but that's the only reason why I can't see the guy playing. Is that maybe he's missing calls, maybe he's not doing the right stuff, maybe I don't know. I don't know. Why isn't he playing?
I don't know. I mean, if you take a look at, I think they look at, it's funny, right? Because if you take a look at Dean Marlowe and Sierra Neal, you kind of look at a similar player, right?
Yeah, but you've called up Cam Lewis and Dane Jackson now over him.
Right.
What's the disconnect? That's all I'm wondering about.
Yeah.
But you're right.
I mean, yeah, if Marlowe wasn't well physically, Sierra Neal would have been in there today, and all those snaps would have gone to Sierra Neal. So I think it's really just that. Marlowe and Neal are both fill a similar role on this team. That's it. And speaking of guys who really step forward, I don't want to give credit. I don't want to give too much credit, but this was hands down Jerry Hughes' best game of the season, right?
It was.
That's hands down.
No doubt. No.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt about it.
Tony
but
B,
why?
no, I'm not saying that. No. Why was it?
Why was it his best game of the season?
Very rarely were they testing the edge on him. I mean, Pyrene.
Yep.
He was running outside. He only had 11 carries.
Yep.
So
well,
and it wasn't always to his side. Sometimes Addison was there, and he was able to catch the corner. Epineza was there. He was able to catch the corner, but he never caught the corner on Hughes. I think you did spot duty with Jerry Hughes, and you used him correctly in spots where, all right, hey, it's 2nd and 3. We're going to put AJ in there. Oh, it's 3rd and 9. We're going to put in Jerry. Because Darnold's not running away from Jerry. I'm just saying.
Richard Forbes, who was the dude wearing the Hughes jersey? Well, I think there's an argument to be made that, one, the Jets are just not a very good offensive line, right? But even with that, the Bills were able to get no pressure in the first half. None. But the Bills have made a couple switches with Jerry Hughes. You're right. I think the positions that they asked him to play, like the situations that he was in, were ultimately better for him. But because playing backside to front side defensive end, right? When you're on backside, you can take a really wide angle because the quarterback can't see you. Right? So you can take that wide angle and it's acceptable. It's okay. But when you're on front side, that QB can see everything you're doing, right? So taking those real wide angles, they don't work. And I think it took Jerry a couple weeks to figure that out, because when he was making impactful plays, he was pushing through the line, right? Or into creases as the defensive tackles were pushing back. He was able to work across the line as opposed to those big sweeping angles like we've seen from Jerry Hughes since he's been here. Right, that's always been the thing with Hughes, was he takes absurd angles because he was always so quick, right? He was fast. He could clear the corner pretty quick, but that's not what he did today. Now that he's on the front side, and I think he's figured out that quarterbacks can see everything he's doing. He's easy to avoid on the front side because you just have to take a step forward if it's there, right? But today, all his impactful plays, they weren't clearing the corner at that huge angle. They were as straight a path to the QB as you can get, or he was working across the line if he wasn't able to get that instant penetration.
I think what teams started to figure out, I definitely agree with you there, but I think what the teams started to figure out was this. They said, listen, if he's on the backside, if he's on the quarterback's blind side, as we're talking about, and like Paul's saying that he used to take these really wide loops and the quarterback can't see him. What the team started to do to adjust to that was they started making front side, because front side and back side can vary. Just let everybody know. Front side depends where the play is designed. So what they would do is, and Jerry really wasn't picking this up, but the fact is they might have like 2 or 3 wide receivers on Jerry's side, and that's where the quarterback was looking anyway. So by Jerry taking that wide loop, he was opening up a passing lane for the quarterback anyway. Right. So that's what they were doing. So by moving him around is the initial signification that the Buffalo Bills are willing to try new things in order to try to get this defense back to where it was. And that's what I like about it. I mean, okay, we're going to put Addison in on that side who doesn't take that loop. He's not as fast as Jerry, so we're going to put Jerry on the front side to maybe coach him into not taking those huge loops all the time. You know what I mean? But no doubt he had one of his best games this year, and best games for a while.
Yeah.
He had
even going into last year, even going back into last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this was one of the best games we've seen from him for a while. But it's an evolution. This is not a young Jerry Hughes anymore. This is a player that need to learn to adapt. Today showed me that he was doing that, but we'll see what next week brings, right? You're going against the Patriots, typically an incredibly well-coached offensive line.
Yep.
We'll see, right? That's just a scenario of, I guess we'll see. But I want you to explain something to me, Mar, because if you're having trouble generating pressure with the front four, don't you start getting a little creative with the way that you want to do that? Aren't you starting to run more stunts? Aren't you starting to get just a bit more creative? Because the Bills just bringing 4, it doesn't do it, right? It just doesn't do it. So at what point do we need to see the Bills get really creative across that defensive line to try and generate more pressure?
Well, one of the things you can do, obviously, you blitz, but you don't have the manpower behind it to blitz. So what else do you have to do? Well, the only reason why you're trying to rush 4 is because you want to drop 7 in coverage. You think that gives you the best chance to either keep everything in front of you or limit what the explosive plays of the offense is doing, and hopefully trick them into doing something that they don't want to do. That could be it. I don't know. You can always mix up twists and stunts up front. That's a bunch of things that you can do. You can fake blitzes. You can have a zone blitz, because I've seen Hughes drop in coverage and I've seen Addison drop in coverage.
Right.
That's not necessarily to get pressure. That's just to take away a part of the field.
Right.
So I think they've already been trying to mix up things already. I mean, with the shifting of certain personnel, with the types of alignments they're trying to do, they've been trying to do that. But it seems that they're trying to find where they're best suited to cover when they're in 3rd and long, and they haven't figured that out yet. And that's why it's so frustrating for Buffalo Bills fans, because Buffalo Bills are giving up 3rd and 12s. If you blitz, you're going to give the guys answers to the test. If you just sit back 7 in coverage, try to keep everything in front of you, sometimes they're breaking tackles or guys are getting loose. And with the amount of injuries that you've had, I mean, can we just say it? Edmonds should have had 2 picks today.
Yeah. That's somebody. I saw somebody in the chat mention, I thought Edmonds played, not terrible. I was like, he dropped 2 picks. Didn't play great. Dropped 2 picks.
I'm sorry. Did we miss? We missed breaking tables. I'm sorry. Bills are the first team since the Chicago Hornets in 1949 AAFC to have a game with no punts and no TDs. We need our confidence. What is that? Omaha? Is that Omaha?
Yikes.
Is that Omaha, the stat monkey?
Omaha is the stat monkey.
For those of you that don't know, quick story. Paul and I have our website, htagsports.com. We have, when you go to the staff page, there's me and Paul and Omaha the stat monkey, who just looks up statistics all the time. Who was born during our podcast days. Yes.
That was a podcast.
Because there was an episode where I lost my voice, and Paul ran with it with my brother, and they both were talking about me, and I literally couldn't speak. So they just called me Omaha the stat monkey the whole thing, which is fun. But I think, I posed a question on the Cold Front Report, and I want to post it to the viewers now, the 172 now. Sweet. Here's what I said. If the Buffalo Bills, and I asked you about this, Paul. If the Buffalo Bills do not make a move for a defensive lineman at the trade deadline, or if they do make a move, if they don't make a move, they think that the personnel they have is fine. They're just not executing. They're not doing their job. Which in the second half, it seemed like that's what they were doing. It seemed like somebody came in the second half and said, listen, just do your responsibility. We can kill this team. And look what happened. I think that's what I wasn't in the locker room. I don't know. Or if they go out and get a defensive lineman, a one technique perhaps, or whoever, get rid of Murphy, get another guy. I'm just speculating here. Do they acknowledge they have a problem on the most expensive defensive line in the league? And how does that look from a business standpoint on the staff? Because I don't think a lot of people are talking about this. I'm just asking.
Well, I mean, the first step to recovery is admitting you have a problem, right? Like, is that what they teach you? I think today showed you that if it's not exotic, it's not going to work, right?
Yeah.
Like, this defensive line is just not going to generate pressure. I think they kind of bet on their ability to scout really aggressively this season, right? So you take a look at Jordan Phillips actually just got brought up, who just mentioned literally just a minute ago. PJ brought up Jordan Phillips. So Jordan Phillips was inactive again, right? Last week he was inactive because I think his father passed away, and
Jordan Phillips.
Jordan Phillips, yeah. I think so, yeah. So Jordan Phillips, if you were talking about Harrison Phillips, then my point's going to be, I'll get there. But Jordan Phillips as a trade target, right? The Bills kind of bet on themselves being able to replace him with free agents because that's how they got him. Jordan Phillips was just out there. He was just a guy, right? The Bills signed him and things went well. The Bills picked up Corey Liuget, and that worked out fine last year, right? The Bills had been successful enough to say, okay, we're pretty confident we can bet on ourselves here, right? Yeah. We can let this walk. We'll just take the chances again that it'll work out fine, right? And I think that was a calculated error right now. I'm not gonna talk poorly of Jefferson or Butler, but they definitely need somebody to take up two bodies, and they have no one dynamic enough to do that right now across that entire defensive line. Jerry's a one-body guy. Epinez is a one-body guy. Jefferson, Harrison Phillips, Ed Oliver, Mario Addison, they're all one-body guys. You don't generate pressure because it's 5-on-4, right? Like, if this doesn't tell you you need to do something, I don't know what does. Like, this was the game that they should have been all over Darnold all game long, and it didn't happen. So it's a problem. You got to take care of it. Noisy Boy said Jordan Phillips was active for the game today. He was inactive last year. I think it was father's funeral, and there was some issues with the COVID protocol, and it was a problem. But
Shiva's gold. Stars our big fat guy.
You got to have one. You gotta have
a guy that just plugs the middle. I miss Star terribly, Shiva. I do. I do miss my boy.
The things that I never thought I'd say. Man, it would be really nice to have Lee Smith for this game. Those words came out of my mouth earlier today when I'm looking at the starting lineup being Tyler Kroft and Reggie Gilliam. And by the way, Tyler Kroft apparently not used to being open. Figured that one out.
He almost had the trip like Donald Jones on the sidelines when he caught that pass wide open.
I know. That's it. He made it a lot further down the field than Jones did, though.
Oh, my God,
right?
Jones tripped over the 8-yard line.
It's a tricky field.
Apparently, the vet's that's not the vet anymore. It's, Lincoln Financial, they call it in Philly? I can't remember. G-Rock said, let's bring Shaq Lawson, too. I don't know about that. Poirier's leading the league in Max Spies. Poirier's leading the top of the league in tackles. Your safety. Mm-hmm. 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 Paul's Lee Smith.
No bueno.
Minus.
No bueno.
Now, the utilization of Kroft and Beasley, was that to set the stage for New England? Because they are so... I mean, we saw 2 weeks ago they're trying to force feed Diggs. Now they're just peppering it down to Beasley for 11 catches. Do you think that opens the window for Gabe Davis next week? Because I think he's going to be the odd man left out that's going to be on an island with a linebacker a lot. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, to me, it's all about John Brown, right? If Brown's healthy, are we taking this question as if Brown's healthy and playing or no?
Yes.
Okay. If Brown's healthy, Gabe Davis is really dangerous, right? Because Brown's going to be able to take pressure. Those safeties aren't going to be able to cover everybody down the field.
True.
Right?
Very true.
That's it. The safeties aren't going to be able to cover everybody. So Gabe Davis does become pretty dangerous next week. Especially since we don't know what Knox is going to be, right? Like, here's the thing. You lose all your tight ends, and the Bills lost all but one tight end. By the way, Reggie Gilliam was technically a fullback, so they literally lost every tight end they have minus one. But Brian Dable doesn't know what the tight end position is anyway. He never uses them, and they never utilized. I think without Dawson Knox, Gabe Davis is more likely to be a danger for the Patriots game.
Wait a minute, Paul. Hold on. You're telling me this is this the same Brian Dable that was the tight ends coach for New England when Gronk was there? He doesn't know what to do at tight ends?
Nope. Sure doesn't.
This isn't tea, but I'm going to feel like Kermit right now. I'll just sip my tea right now. Okay, wow. Yeah, I don't know why. It's not like he had I mean, Paul, we did an episode about this where he doesn't have a litany of really, explosive and exciting tight ends, but he never used to use them. Like, I think 60 catches was the highest, and that was 1 year out of all the years he's been in OC. 60 was the highest of catches that a guy. Oh, yeah. Jet fan for life in here. Jet fan coming by to say congrats. You guys should have blown us out. You're not alone with that assessment. You're not alone.
Thomas Hillebrand said, "Can we just take a second and appreciate how solid the signing of Isaiah McKenzie was a couple years ago?" Now, they use him a lot in the backfield, right? He's a very featured part of the offense, even though it doesn't get many touches. He's a very featured part of the offense. Last year, they tried to give that role to Andre Roberts, and it didn't work, right? They really did. They gave Andre Roberts every opportunity to be involved in the offense.
Stop. Say it. Bring him up. You always love bringing him up. You got to say it. You got to say it.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Who is the guy? If it wasn't McKenzie, who is the guy?
Ray McLeod. Ray McLeod gets mentioned on another hashtag episode. What I'm saying is, it's not Isaiah McKenzie has fended off every advance to have him replaced, right? Like, he really has. As far as being involved in the offense, they've tried to replace him a few times, and every time Isaiah McKenzie still ends up out on top. So kudos to Isaiah McKenzie for still being an integral part of the offense. When he's not involved, it actually is the looks are different, right? Because they don't run that jet look like they run 7, 8, 9 times a game. And they feel they must get some sort of advantage off of running that look. They feel it's an important look because they do it so often. So, hey, if they think he's important, that's fine.
To me, it's the equivalent of the Wildcat. Putting McKenzie out there because it's something for other teams to have to plan for, and it's a nice little wrinkle, a mix up of your offense. Can you imagine how vanilla this offense would look if they didn't have McKenzie and what he would do? I mean, I think a lot of teams already have that type of offense and or package in there for their offenses. They have one really small speed guy that they love doing the jet motions to, and that's the guy that they use. It could be a guy that's a third string running back. It could be a wide receiver. It could be whoever it is. But I think every team has that sort of package that you have to plan for, though. And I haven't gone. Let me check this out because this is very interesting to me now that it was brought up. Now that I'm looking into the Sun. So if I looked at Isaiah McKenzie, he has played 18, 11, 27, 34, 31, and 13% of snaps throughout the game. So it's definitely something that you have to plan for as a defense throughout your week. Like, okay, how are we going to defend this? How are we going to defend that? The Buffalo Bills ran the one jet, worked pretty well. They ran the second jet, not so much. So I think one was a pass, one was a handoff or whatever. But I mean, that not being said, that notwithstanding, I'm not as confident as I was last week going into New England. I think that Belichick and that defense are going to have a few things up their sleeve for Allen. And number one, they're going to try to take away Diggs. Number two, they're going to try to take away Beasley. And then they're going to force the Buffalo Bills to rely on their run game, which we haven't seen it very much, Paul. We have not seen it.
The guard play's been bad, dude. Like,
it has.
What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Like, the guard play has just been bad.
The fact that they haven't made a move for anyone else, does that mean that they're not worried about New England?
No.
Remember,
that's a tough question.
Remember, they got a week. If they sign someone off the scrap heap, if they trade for somebody, it's different.
So let me ask this: do you think this is the week that you sign somebody because they're not going to be able to get with the rest of the team to practice for the Patriots game, right? Then you have the Seahawks game, but then you have your bye week, right? So is this the week to do it? So you're going to jump the Patriots game. Maybe they'll be active for whatever the position is, whoever the player is, for the Seahawks game, but then you get the bye week, right? So you get that extra time.
And before we do what we have to do, can you explain that once again to everybody? Because it was on an episode, but I don't know if everybody saw the episode. So everyone that's in here, 161 viewers that we have in here, can you explain trading for a player versus signing a free agent and how the COVID protocol works?
Yeah, so this year's really, really different with all the COVID protocols. So kind of the short version of this is if you trade a player, so a player is currently on another team, if you trade for them, they can play for you right away. They don't have to go through any sort of cleared COVID protocol waiting period or quarantine period. They're coming from a facility that has been cleared by the NFL. They're in a program. They're actively being tested. If you get traded, there's no COVID quarantine at all. That player is ready to practice for you day one, right? But if you sign somebody, different story. There's a 5-day COVID protocol that they're not able to work with your team in a one-on-one basis during practice or anything like that. They have to go into almost like a quarantine prior to being able to work with the rest of the team. And that's a 5-day waiting period. So if the Bills signed somebody, just as an example, the Bills signed somebody on Tuesday. That's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Guess what? The very first day that they'll actually be able to even do anything football related is Sunday. So if you're signing anybody, it is completely useless for the following week's game. Totally useless. So when we talk about these free agents that are out there, you kind of have to be a week ahead of all your needs, because if you do sign somebody who's not actively on a roster right now, that's a street free agent, that they're not going to be able to help you next week. Now, different story. You could still sign somebody off another team's practice squad. That is allowed. And they would not be subject to that COVID protocol. They'd be coming from an active team, active facility, and they wouldn't be subject to that COVID waiting period.
Corey Luggett. Is he on a practice squad? He's on the Texans practice squad.
That's a good get.
That'd be a good get.
That'd be a good get.
And that's why everyone knows the most recent example of that would be Le'Veon Bell. The fact that he was cut by the Jets and then signed by the Patriots. Oh, my God. Wow. Oh, my God. I got Patriots on the brain. He was signed by the Chiefs. He wasn't able to play. Big Tim, welcome to the All-Pro.
Hey, welcome to All-Pro, Big Tim.
So that being said, more likely if they needed a player right away to come in and play, obviously they would go the route of trading for a player and maybe giving up some assets. I don't think Bean would be very strict with his draft picks this year, because there's of the guys coming out, you're not seeing a lot of players. There's not a lot of players that are going to be coming out that you're going to have. But signing free agents, you would have to. You got to be careful. You have to be very careful.
Yeah, got to be careful. Got to be careful there. So, Mar, looking kind of down the road, I know we're getting close to the hour time period,
yes,
right? Or we're actually over. Are we over the hour? So next week, right? When we start looking at next week, what if you're developing the game plan for next week? What did you learn about your team today that's going to impact what the game plan is going to be against the Patriots next week?
I think next week you're going to be able to take more shots down the field because of all the short dump offs that I think what Josh Allen showed the whole league and showed the Patriots, especially for next week, is the fact that he wasn't playing hero ball today. We didn't see too much of hero ball out of Allen. A couple of those plays, obviously, he has to get out of his system, where he stiff arms a guy with his right hand, has the ball in his left hand, and throws it away. He's a maniac. Point is this: you saw him taking what was given to him, which is something that he hasn't done very much.
Right.
Okay, take what's given to you. We saw it a little bit in the Tennessee game, but they were down by too much. We saw it in the Chiefs game. Too little, too late. But now, when they have come back in the game, they got to drive. You started to see a little bit more of the evolution of Josh Allen, but there's too many plays where he's sitting there and he's dropping back and he's one read, two read, and nobody's open. What are you doing? Like, what's going to happen? I mean, can we game plan a little bit better? But I think what's going to be taken off the table for next week is that you're going to see a lot more deep plays out of Allen against the Patriots because of the short-term effect of what's happened. The fact that the Patriots now have to plan for that intermediate game and take away a lot of the passes to sticks, he might be able to throw over it. Well, or the Patriots just take the Titans' defensive scheme and use it on him. Who knows?
Well, first off, Cam Newton gets benched in this game. Those 3 picks. So, really, I mean, let's be real. He was 12 for 15. Just 3 of the 12 went to the wrong team. Let's be real, right? So, I know it looks worse than it really was. He did complete 12 passes, Just 3 of them went to the wrong team.
12 did not hit the ground.
But the Patriots got absolutely routed, right? It's 3 losses in a row. And looking at what San Francisco does defensively versus Buffalo, the major difference is the Buffalo secondary I trust a lot more. The back end of the secondary I trust a lot more than the 49ers secondary. But that defensive front four and the linebackers for the 49ers are otherworldly, right? It's just first-round picks everywhere. They're hyper aggressive, right? They're a dangerous defense just in that triangle, just in the front four and 2 linebackers. Those 6 guys, they are a nightmare, right? Now, I think here's the interesting contrast to me, right? So tonight, the Bills had 26 first downs. The Jets had 17 first downs. The Patriots game, the 49ers had 26 first downs. The Patriots had 17 first downs.
Wow.
As far as passing yards, 49ers threw for 270. Buffalo threw for 307, right? So a little bit of a difference, but not massive, right? On the ground, the 49ers ran for 197. The Bills ran for 126. Huge discrepancy, right?
Yeah, whoa. Time out.
Huge discrepancy.
Two things wrong with that. Number one, Allen was your leading rusher, and you had Moss and Singletary.
Right.
The 49ers probably had 6 running backs accumulate those yards.
That is actually quite fair. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players carried the ball to meet that 197 yards.
Hey, yeah. Hi, Kyle Shanahan.
Yeah, but the 49ers ran the ball 37 times, right?
Ooh.
The Bills ran the ball 27 times.
Ooh.
Mind you, 36 of those times that the 49ers ran the football was to a non-quarterback, right? The Bills can't say that.
No.
The Bills can't say that. So I think that's probably the major difference here, right? Is the 49ers build space on the ground because they were 4 or 5 in the red zone. The Bills were 0 for 5 in the red zone, right? Like you can't. These are things you can't do. Like you just can't put yourself in that position.
The more you let teams hang around, especially teams that can make adjustments on you, that's the worst thing you can do.
Right.
It's the worst.
Yep. So if I'm Buffalo, I'm doing everything I can to figure out how to run the football. That's what I'm doing.
They haven't done that yet.
I know, but the 49ers just told you how to beat New England.
Well, it's a matchup game, though, Paul. It's a matchup game. Because we saw New England run the ball all over Miami week 1, and the Buffalo Bills decided to come out and throw the ball over Miami. You know what I mean? It's a matter of matchups. The Buffalo Bills have the horses to run all over. No, they don't. You got McKinnon, Wilson, the fullback there. You got
Kyle Judsick, Mikael Hasty. I mean, dude, you're not talking about things. Stop. You're not talking about player. Don't tell me that Jeff Wilson is better than Zach Moss.
I'm not saying they're better. I'm saying you still got to have the horses that will do that. And Shanahan, for years, has been so committed to the run. And it's been successful.
The 49ers have a better coached offensive line than the Buffalo Bills. And that's nothing against OG Bobby Johnson.
No, it's not.
There's nothing against him, right? It's been a carousel across the offensive line this season. You lose Feliciano. You lose Ford now. Ty Nsekhe, most people forgot he's on the team, right? Ty Nsekhe.
Put him at guard. No, I'm not. It's not that easy. I'm just goofing around.
Can he play DT?
You got Trent Williams, Laken Tomlinson, Mike McGlinchey, and Daniel Brunskill. Do you even have a first-round pick?
Yeah, McGlinchey was first rounder.
No, for the Bills. Do you even have a first-round pick on that offensive line?
No.
So what are we talking about here?
No.
That line is nasty, though. That line is a lot of kinds of nasty.
Yep. So
hard
workers.
Yeah.
Hard workers. But that defense also generated 4 turnovers today against the Patriots. Cam Newton threw 3 interceptions. Jarrett Stidham threw 1, so there's 4 turnovers. I don't know if they fumbled the ball at all. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it looks like they did fumble the ball.
Seriously, you can't give 5 possessions up to a team and expect to win. But if the Buffalo Bills turn those 5 possessions into 15 points, you're still
in the game.
You're still in the game, unfortunately. Right. So, yeah, we have reached that hour. Just wanted to remind everybody of hashtag heroes. If you become a channel member, 100% of the channel membership is going to be going to the Punt Foundation each month. So up until the end of the year, we're going to be doing that. And then we're going to hand a nice big check over to the Punt Foundation because of all the hashtag heroes. We do appreciate it. You can either be a practice squad, 55-man roster, Pro Bowl, All-Pro, or Hall of Famer. We're going to be calling the Hall of Famers this week. So make sure that you're on the lookout for that. We're going to put it in the community tab. A lot of things that we talk about with the members and the channel membership, we're going to put it in the community tab for you guys. That goes for episodes, if we're going to be talking to you guys, and all the nonsense that we're going to be doing, as well as merch. Merch is coming out very soon as well. But we just wanted to thank you guys for joining us for the Buffalo Bills versus New York Jets post game, where the Buffalo Bills run the record to 5-2, 3-0 in the division. And we appreciate all of Hashtag Nation for joining us tonight, and we're going to have some episodes for you this week. So you guys enjoy your evening. The Bills are 5-2. You could talk trash at work tomorrow on Monday morning. So you guys enjoy, and we'll see you.
Welcome to Bills Victory Monday. It's been a couple weeks. Woo!
I'm done with
Bills
him.
Victory Monday is so much better than Bills Not So Victory Monday.